Have you ever wondered how courts can resolve disputes even when they cannot directly reach the person involved, but they can reach their assets? This is where the fascinating concept of quasi in rem jurisdiction comes into play, a powerful tool within our legal system. Courts exercise quasi in rem jurisdiction when they aim to resolve a dispute by asserting authority over a defendant's property, even though they may not have personal jurisdiction over the defendant themselves. The court's power in such cases is limited to the value of the seized property, and the purpose is often to satisfy a debt or claim against an absent defendant. The fundamental principle behind this type of jurisdiction is the court's physical control over the property itself, which is located within its territorial boundaries. Historically, this concept emerged from the idea that a court could, through attachment or garnishment, seize a defendant's property found within the state to compel the defendant to appear or to satisfy a judgment. It serves as a way to allow plaintiffs to bring claims against individuals who might otherwise evade legal action by remaining outside the court's reach. To initiate an action based on quasi in rem jurisdiction, the plaintiff must first identify specific property owned by the defendant within the court's geographical area. This property is then formally attached or seized by the court. Crucially, the claim itself does not necessarily arise from the property. Rather, the property merely provides the jurisdictional hook. For example, if a defendant owes a plaintiff money from a contract dispute, and the defendant owns land in another state, a court in that state might assert quasi in rem jurisdiction over the land to satisfy the debt. A significant development in this area was the Supreme Court's ruling in the 1977 case of Schaefer v. Heitner. This landmark decision largely merged the standards for quasi in rem jurisdiction with those for personal jurisdiction. It established that even when a court has power over property within its borders, the exercise of quasi in rem jurisdiction must still satisfy the minimum contacts test, ensuring the defendant has sufficient connections with the forum state, consistent with due process. Understanding quasi in rem jurisdiction highlights how courts adapt to ensure justice, even when traditional personal jurisdiction is absent. It shows that the court's authority over specific assets can serve as a conduit for resolving broader disputes, always balancing the need for redress with the defendant's constitutional rights to due process and fair play within the legal system.